welcome everyone to the SA SoCal meeting here. We got some guests from MPG, Motor Press Guild, but we've also got some special guests from Temple High School. And I love how these things with SAE connect over decades. About 25 years ago, I met this kid when he was on the Cal State Los Angeles super mileage team. And long story short of how Nissan got supporting that team, but ultimately led to his career starting at Nissan.
Yeah.
And now he's introducing the next generation of students here. So you want to say a few words about who your students are and what they're building? Because I think the idea here is we want them to see a presentation here. They can come back in a few months and give a presentation on their car.
Yeah, we brought it today. My daughter, she's on this team. It's an electric solar car team, and they're going to build a car that is going to be raced in Texas. And this team is really special. It's an all-girl team. So the school has multiple like STEM teams, and there's the Heliotech team, which is they've gone to competition twice already in Texas, and I went both years. And then this third year, we're forming this new team for these girls because they've worked really hard. And then sometimes in engineering environments, you know, the boys kind of overshadow the ladies a little bit, and so this is their opportunity to kind of make a big splash. And I was lucky enough to meet you back in 1999, somewhere around that range, because my professor, he said, hey, you know, let's go volunteer at some events, because I was in SAE as a student. Like, we went to competition in Michigan, and we did all these cool things to volunteer for Nissan. And then eventually I met Dean, and then when I was graduating, I just shot him an email, hey, I'm like in the job market now, and I got an interview. And it doesn't guarantee you a job, but it's who you know, get your foot in the door for that interview. But that's like what it is in a nutshell, how I met Dean. And there's other people that he's touched that definitely made a big difference in their lives, or else I wouldn't be here today and be able to help this team.
So I think here again, it would be great to get some SA SoCal and Motor Press Guild support, because that's a great story what you're doing there. And a lot of this is connections. So we're here to talk about P71 Spec Racing with Brett Madsen, which came about because TJ Keon, who's our volunteer video guru, has been racing that, and he goes, hey, I'd like to do this as a presentation. I go, absolutely, sounds like a great thing. But here again, the request is, for those of you watching this on YouTube, share this, get some word out there, come to our events. We've got a big event that's going to be here on April 15th. We're teaming up with SWE Los Angeles and WMNA, which is Women in Motorsports North America. We're going to have the top people from Firestone Race Tires on both the technical side and the business side. So we're going to have a really large event here, April 15th. All of our events are open to students and anybody who wants to come. But so tonight's is just going to be a fun one. I worked at Ford for a while, and in the 90s there was this little dark secret that the fastest car on the proving grounds, the handling course, the Dearborn Proving Grounds, was not a Mustang GT. It was a Crown Vic with a police package. So I am not surprised at all as an ex-Ford guy that this is a really cool car to race. So Brett Madsen, who's got a strong background also in simulation, so he's not just a guy who races it, he can actually model it in the computer, which might be, I think the students might want to talk to you afterwards about modeling their solar car. But
Absolutely.
Anyway, turn it over to you, Brett. Let's talk race cars.
All right, I appreciate it, Dean. Thank you, guys. Good evening. My name is Brett Madsen. I'm the founder of Spec P71 Racing Series. I wanted to say thank you to Dean for allowing me to speak to you guys this evening, as well as Lions Automobilia and SAE SoCal. Tonight, I'm going to talk to you about something that has been a passion project of mine for years, Spec P71 Racing Series. Before we get into specifics about the series itself, give you a little bit of my background. I've been into racing since I was a little kid. My dad was an engineer who eventually became a pilot. My oldest brother became a GT3 race car driver. My middle brother became an Air Force pilot. And we all started with simulation when we were a kid, back in like early simulations, 1993 kind of thing, where you're raced on IndyCar racing, Chuck Yeager's Air Combat, like very, very low detail graphics. But it's what spurred me into motorsports career and enjoying everything about racing that there is. I stayed within simulation until my mid-20s, where I then became a racer in SCCA for autocross and started developing that. I'm also, as well, a Motorsport Safety Foundation certified instructor. So I'll go into a little bit more about that with Spec P71 itself. how I'm able to help develop drivers in both the sim as well as in real life. And as I mentioned in the vehicle simulation side, I do that professionally on the side for both manufacturers, racing teams, all the way from grassroots all the way up to IMSA, develop their cars in Assetto Corsa, R-Factor Pro, all of those various simulations that you guys can potentially see online today, like iRacing and all that kind of stuff. Going back into the SCCA Autocross, this is the car that I race, the 1999 Roush Mustang. No longer looks like a Mustang at this point. Started off with a stock car when I first got it in my mid-20s and turned it into a full-on race car. Super wide tires. Ended up doing really well with it. Became a national champion with this car. It was a ton of fun. Super stressful though at the national level, so that's why I decided that it was time to do something really dumb. And that was Spec P71. And as you can see from this photo, I definitely hammed it up a little bit for the picture. Got completely sideways going through the slide at Chuckwalla. If you've ever been to that track, you know this is a very, very high banked corner where you just slide it in there as fast as you possibly can. Didn't touch the dirt there, just hung the tire off the ground. So it was a lot of fun, and that just really spurred me like even further into wanting to do this racing series. So who we are behind Spec P71, it's just a time attack series. So it's not wheel to wheel, you're not banging doors with people, it's not like the Cletus McFarlane things that you guys see. We have a little we have a little bit more pride on our cars. We don't want to be the problematic child at the track that's leaving body panels everywhere. Yeah, so it's designed specifically with driver development at its core. We want to develop both beginners as well as we want that experienced driver that maybe is tired of driving the car with the super grippy tires and the large amounts of aero. Maybe he's wanting to develop his skills a little bit more along the same lines with other people in the same exact car to really gauge where he's at in his skill level and develop it maybe from the 90% skill level that he has to that 100%, that extra 10% that you can get from just driving a car that you don't know at its limit. And the real big thing on who we are here is affordability. Anybody can come out and do this. You go to a police auction and you can pick up a car for around like $3,000 at this point. And you don't have to do anything to it. That's the best part about it. First event, just come out, run it. Those brake pads that are on it are designed specifically for police spec, and they are designed by Porterfield, who makes race brake pads. And they will last that entire first year that you're racing, no matter how hard you beat up on those brakes. So Spec P71 offers two types of racing experiences. We do on-track as well as we do esports. And as I mentioned, I'm very big into the vehicle simulation side of things. I designed the Spec P71 car in Assetto Corsa full on, one-to-one. You could drive it right now. It's for free. You can go on our website and actually download it if you really wanted to. I'll get into all of that a little bit more later, but I'll start off with the on-track experience first, specifically how it all started. And it's a really, really ridiculous story, but it ended up just being so much fun to be able to go out there and do this with a car that should never be on track. I bought a 2006 Ford Crown Victoria at police auction after a friend of mine that at the SCCA, a photographer of mine that was a friend, he sent me the link to it, and I saw that there was like 20 Crown Victorias for sale from San Diego Police Department, and I'm just like, okay, I need to go take a look at these things. And I knew it had a great suspension on it. I knew it had a great just reliability, because the 4.6 that's in this car was also the 4.6 that's in my race car. So I knew okay, I know exactly what the modular is capable of doing. I wanted to stick with it. And bought the car for $1,500 out the door, took it to Sonoma, and I lived in San Diego at the time, so I was driving a car 2 weeks after purchasing it, not really knowing what's going to happen. I was like, all right, well, if it breaks down, I'll just get a flight back. It's fine, whatever. But it ended up making it to the track. It nearly did a sub 2-minute lap time at Sonoma, which is incredible for a bone stock Crown Victoria. It did chew up the tires pretty good. Those Goodyears that are on it were definitely very old at that time, so they were not ready for the amount of abuse they got that entire day. but I drove it back home, no issues whatsoever. Car was incredibly fun. Passed a couple Porsche GT3 RSs, which was hilarious to me. Like, I was laughing the entire time. A couple of people, like, we filled the entire car with people. We had four people in total, 2 people in the back, just flying around in the back in the bench seat. So it was a lot of fun. Did have the partition in there too, by the way. So it definitely looked like a scene out there. Like, everyone enjoyed it. We had a whole crowd section that was just cheering us on the entire time. And that's really where I'm just like, okay, I need to make this a thing, and really sat down and started developing the rules. But why at Crown Victoria, though? So as you can see from the image, it's exactly like a Formula One car. Same width, same dimensions, same track, everything. You know, it's just a little heavier, a little less horsepower, a little less aero. But it's got the 4.6 liter two-valve V8, which I was super like well-versed in. I've built so many of these engines, knew that they're super reliable, and if you leave them stock, they'll last forever. Rear-wheel drive, I have a preference for that. It's I call it the right-wheel drive. It's just a lot more fun for me. I like being able to slide the car around the track, and you can just do that so easily with this car. It's a ton of fun. And then the body-on-frame durability, it was very interesting at Laguna Seca when I popped out a windshield because going down the corkscrew because of how stiff the chassis was, that it just out the window. But it made me laugh the entire time. Got a new window for $100, kept going on. SLA front suspension, as I mentioned, like the suspension's very good on this car. It's basically a beefed up Miata up front, and it takes all the abuse, whether you're going over curbs at the track or you're chasing a perp and going over curbs on the street. It'll do whatever you want it to. Watts Link rear suspension, very much Ford-based, very much not an F1 car in that regard. And it's tried and true, same thing that I had in my Mustang. Watts Link design is a little different, and I'll show you guys an image of that later. Here is the engine dyno. I took it to one of my friend's shop just to see what it was making with the tune that it had on it. As you can see, not going to be making F1 power. It's only 220 real horsepower, but it does actually create a decent amount of torque, good stump puller, and it makes it a lot more fun at the slower tracks to really get out of the corners and go. And as I mentioned, I got some 3D scans of the suspension. This was something that I did specifically for the simulation side of stuff. Took a full 3D scan of all the suspension so I could re-render it into a set of Corsa as a one-to-one simulation. So this is a short long arm suspension. Kept it 100% stock for this, so the rules are very, very tight, specifically so you drive a car that is equal to everybody else and you're not like having to wonder like, oh, is this the car that's doing it or is this the driver? We wanted something that was going to be very even for people, keep it stock. And then we got the solid rear axle, obviously very different than the SLA front suspension. And I don't know if you guys could see it from there because it's a little bit grainy, but my mouse working? Yeah, there it is. So it's got the Watts Link instead of on the diff cover. It's got it on the top of the diff, which is very, very unique, and it creates a little bit of an issue with the roll center of the car. But that being said, it also makes it a little bit more tail happy, a little bit more fun to drive. And it's the only downside to it. It really, for me, it was the fact that it's a single shear bolt. And stock, those things rip out real easily. We have a solution for that though, ADTR Performance, who actually also races with us. They are the designer and also seller of basically all the aftermarket parts for Crown Victorias at this point. They designed a hardened ARP bolt that works specifically for the Watts Link pivot, so it doesn't rip it out, because otherwise the Watts Link is going to move the suspension this way and that because it's got no lateral control anymore. But other than that, perfect suspension. And some of you may know who we are in advance. You might have seen us on TV, you might have seen us in Grassroots Motorsports or Hot Rod Magazine. We've been around, we've been doing as much as promoting as we possibly can to bring some more people out, get some more people interested. I had a ton of fun with the guys at Faster with Newburn and Cotton on Hot Rod Magazine on their TV show. They brought out a Crown Victoria that they said was legal for Spec P71, but then they put a gigantic nitrous bottle on it and tried to beat all of the people that actually do race Spec P71 and end up blowing a hole in their intake manifold. So if you bring out a Spec P71 car, don't put nitrous on it. We'll know. And then, so I've got a little hot lap to show you guys at Willow Springs. This is relatively recent, a 140, which for this car it's pretty good. It's not going to be very fast in a straight line, just specifically because, like I said, it's only got 220 real-wheel horsepower. But it's a lot of fun to drive. Some notes for you guys. I'm not going to play the whole video because I don't want to waste your guys' time just watching a very slow car go around the track. But just note the fact that we're column shifting. We are actually using it as a manual. We're not actually just leaving it automatic. We're downshifting, we're blipping it, we're left foot braking, we're getting the car to pivot, and we're getting it to go. Another thing to also keep an eye on is just the amount of slip that the car needs. You'll see the car very much sideways as it goes through the corners. But something of note as well, as you can see, I'm wearing some gloves. Helps us keep control of the car, especially when you're downshifting. As well as we use racing seats. We highly recommend them because we call the stock seats sofa seats, bread loaves, because as you're going around a corner, you'll be flying out of a seat. We had one driver, her name is Uni, and she came out with us, and she immediately after the first session was like, I need a racing seat in this car, because she was literally holding onto the door as she's going around the track because the seat was not holding her in. We got her a racing seat in the car, and she had a ton of fun driving it. As you can see, very slow around this track, but very slippy. A lot of tire noise. A lot of spectators say that we sound like we're in like a 90s or 2000s movie where there's a cop chase going on. You just hear it screaming around the course, louder than the exhaust, but a ton of fun. And then why does a series exist? Along with one of my favorite pictures, of course, me passing two of the Porsches at Sonoma. It's cheap and accessible track time. That's like the biggest thing. I keep harping on it. It's important to me just because of the current climate of the world. It's just everything is getting more expensive, and we want to keep it as cheap as possible. We want to keep racing as easy as possible for you to get into. We know it's not as easy as doing like a racing simulator or like racing online. But I want this to be kind of the next stage. Like you guys are like wanting to like move away from like the vehicle simulation stuff, kind of like how I was, and doing so in a cheap way that's safe, reliable, and you don't have to really worry about the car too much. You just worry about getting better as a driver. It's low risk and high reward as seat time. It's a ton of fun, and you're going to develop your driving skills. If you could drive a Crown Victoria fast around a racetrack, going to be able to drive anything around a racetrack. Realistically, it's just, it teaches you so much skill. It teaches you basically how to drive the Titanic, and without hitting the iceberg, of course. The rules are very simple. I've explained the rules to a few of you already. It's like whatever you guys see in the rules is what you're allowed to do. You're not allowed to do anything outside of that. We kept it airtight because we don't want people cheating. We don't want this to turn into Spec Miata where it becomes like, oh, you need to spend $15,000 for an engine that you need to build just to be competitive. No, we want you to come out with a car that you buy from auction that is super, super fun to drive and super, super like able to run up front with all the competitors that are out there. We highly recommend safety equipment. So like you could do a roll bar in the car, you could do a Hans device, you could do racing seats, you could do whatever you want to make it more safe. We have allowances for that. We also have allowance for convenience as well. So like things like having a radio in the car, you're allowed to do that. You're allowed to change the steering wheel. And also one of the main fun things about it is people have a different driving style, have a different way that they want to approach actually doing modifications to a car. You could do the handling package if you want your car to handle a little bit better, which is the handling package is going to be a preset sway bar kit that you could order from ADTR Performance, lower control arms for the rear, as well as Wattslink control arms, just to help a little bit with like the rear suspension's sway that it has. Or you could do a performance package which adds the tune, a set of cams, and also just the full exhaust system. And that gives you, like, if you're more of the type of person that's like, oh, I don't care about the turning side of things, I just want to floor it, that's the way to go. And also we do allow you to do reliability modifications. So you might have seen it on the car out front. It's got hood vents on it. That's specific because we found that the transmission was getting quite a bit hot at the track. So what we did to remedy that is we did a lot of testing with both the hood on as well as some CFD testing that I've done, specifically just to figure out where all that heat is actually coming from. We found that the heat from the transmission was radiating back up into the engine bay and getting stuck there and heating up everything else in the engine bay. So we did a bunch of testing, as I mentioned, and cut some holes in the hood and figured out, oh, okay, this is perfect. And it just extracts all the air out of the hood, keeps the transmission happy, keep on going, no problem. And again, as I mentioned, more reliability modifications like the Watts link bolt. That's super important. It keeps the car from losing its rear suspension at that point. You could do whatever you want as far as reliability goes. You can come to me if you have an idea. Hey, Brett, there's something specific that this car my car's doing that maybe some other cars are not doing, but I want to get it resolved, which happened to a couple of us, specifically the fuel sock. Around right-hand corners, we were finding that it was starving below 3/4 of a tank. And I did a bit of research into it, found that the tank, because it sits up on its vertically instead of down horizontally like this, and the fuel pump is on the right-hand side, it was starving itself of fuel. So we added a longer fuel sock into the tanks, no longer have that issue. So simple things like that. We're always open to expanding the rule book a little bit just to make the car perform a little bit better and make the people around us at the track scratch their heads like, what are they doing? How are they passing me? So you might see some familiar faces here. Of course, TJ is going to be the main source of the photo here. Up front on the car, this is at the last Willow Springs event that we had. Bunch of guys come out with their cars, having tons of fun. Bump drafting down the straight. We do encourage that every once in a while. If you guys are comfortable with it, you talk to the other driver. Like, you can give them a little push down the front straightaway if you want. We just like to have a little bit of fun with that. What it costs, as I mentioned, like previously before, over and over, it's all about as cheap as possible. First season, you're probably going to be in around $3,500 with the car included. I recommend actually just taking the car from auction, going to your first event, not doing a single thing, let everything sort itself out at that point. We've had a few drivers do that where they've run into maybe the engine overheats a little bit because it's got some crap clogging the front of the radiator, and we just scrubbed it off and it was good to go. So just bring the car out, let it see what it can do on the good years, what it can do on the stock pads, and just have fun with it. And then afterwards is where you start really prepping. I call it the TARP method, where it's tires, alignment, race seat, and pads. It's going to be very, very important to do that if you want to be competitive, as well as fully develop the car. Because with the good years, you're probably going to get maybe a session or two, or not a session, a race event or two out of those tires before they're starting to delaminate a little bit because they're not designed to be pushed to that limit. And then, as I mentioned, or as it shows here, track day is going to be 4 20-minute sessions that are going to be timed. We race with Speed Ventures, who is a fantastic group to race with. A good friend with Chris, the owner at Speed Ventures. He's super in love with these cars, loves having us out at the track. And we do as many events a year as we possibly can. Definitely recommend, even if you don't bring out a P71 to one of these events, definitely bring a car out to Speed Ventures. It's a ton of fun. And then our membership is $150 a year for the first year. And then afterwards, it goes down to half that, so $75 a year. And the main reason for that is it covers all the initial costs, like the vinyl package that you have to apply, and just making sure that we have all of your information updated and all good to go on that. And then the next bit is going to be the learning environment. As I mentioned, this is for beginners. So we get a lead follow session for you. So you're able to follow the instructor in another car, and we could also have an instructor in your car. So you're learning from both their line that's in front of you and the person that's in your passenger seat. So you're getting double the attention to make sure that you're all good to go. And then at any time, just specifically, this is something that I do for Spec P71, you could request a instructor in your car just for whatever reason. Like if you're having an issue with a certain corner, I could help you out with that. If you're doing something in the sim at any time, always happy to answer your questions. I've done numerous track guides in the sim specifically for our drivers so they know what they're doing at a track that they've never been to. And it's with the Crown Victoria, it's a low risk, low cost if you leave the track surface. Funny story. At Willow Springs, I went through turn 8, which I don't know if you know that track very well, but turn 8 is one of the fastest corners at that track where in our cars we're going about 120 miles per hour through it. And when I went through that corner, there was a Corvette in front of me that ended up dumping oil all over the racing surface. As I was going through that corner, I saw that happen, tried to get on the brakes and realized there was nothing and there was no steering. Went straight off into the dirt and had more traction in the dirt than I did on track. And the car went over the bumps, no problem. It was like, oh yeah, we do this all the time back at the academy. It's totally fine. You can do whatever you want. And got right back on track and kept going. The car had no issue whatsoever. It does not care if you go into the dirt, does not care if you go up on some curbs. It's perfectly fine driving it however hard you want to drive it. And then last little bit, of course, like I said, experienced drivers can push to their limits in this car and not worry about it. And that's one of the biggest things that I love to share with people. Like I see people come out to like Porsche Club events, see people coming out with super expensive cars, and they get worried. They're like, oh, I don't want to get rock chip in this my nice paint. I don't want to damage the car. Crown Victoria, when we back the cars into the front area, like I told TJ, if you take my door off, whatever, it's fine. I don't care. Like the paint doesn't really matter. You can see that my roof is rusted. We don't care. It's the whole idea behind it is that you do beat up on it. And if you do damage something like the paint, it is what it is. We've had people that's literally spray paint, actually the person in this photo, spray paint the side of their car at the track because they ended up going off track and got some rock chips on it. And then I wanted to show you guys just a little bit of fun at Laguna Seca. The audio on this one is not great, so I'm going to probably turn that off. But this is one of the very first times going to Laguna Seca with this car. It was so much fun. I don't recommend going to Laguna Seca on the AutoZone brake pads though, but I burned these pads up after the first session just because of how much the car weighs. But it is a ton of fun to go down the corkscrew with this car, and like this was one of those moments where people were at the track like, is that a Crown Victoria? Because they couldn't understand what it was doing on track and why it was going sub 2 at Laguna Seca, which isn't fast, mind you, but it's fast for that car anyway. See if I could skip ahead to the corkscrew for you guys before moving on. If it lets me, there we go. So yeah, this is one of the most fun parts. So you're going down here. This is the same corner like I mentioned before where I popped out the windshield because it just bottoms out the suspension so hard. But get a little slidey on the exit and then through Rainier Corner. It's a ton of fun. Highly recommend. Oops. Wrong. Yes. So it was a track day where they didn't require a full suit and it was super hot that day. So I'm just like, maybe I don't have to wear these. So let's move on to, okay, so now that's everything that we need, everything I wanted to cover for the actual like real racing series. Moving on to the virtual series, which has become much more prevalent. As I mentioned, a lot of people enjoy doing the virtual racing and racing Assetto Corsa, iRacing. We typically have over 20 entrants every year in a virtual series that gets broadcast onto YouTube. I do a lot of the commentating along with a couple of other people that join me for the actual broadcast. And we just get to watch 20 people go at it wheel to wheel. No issue, no worries about trading paint, nothing like that. So like you're going wheel to wheel, you're hitting doors, you're having fun, learning the dynamics of the car regardless of your location. And this is where we get people more interested all around the country in racing the Crown Victoria. Like there's been a couple of other Crown Victoria groups that have started racing specifically because we introduced this to Assetto Corsa, and they were like, we had no idea that this was possible, that these cars were this good. And this is just a quick clip of top video is me in the real car, if it would work, and the bottom is the sim car. So I did what, of course it's not working very well, but I'll let it load a little bit. Give a little bit of preface here. The bottom video I tested out first. I wanted to see if I could fully send it at Streets of Willow through the kink corner, just to see if it would grip and actually hold on to it. I did it in the sim, and it gave me enough confidence to go to the track and do it in real life. Yeah. Now it loaded. So as you can see, slid it through there, did the exact same movements and everything in the real car that I did in the sim, made it through, perfect. Matched my lap time exactly from the sim to real life. As I mentioned, I do a lot of driver development through the simulation as well. One driver of which is Chris at ADTR Performance. As I mentioned before, he supplies all the aftermarket parts for our racing series and for all Crown Victorias. Great guy, and also a beginner in road racing. He was more of a drag racing guy, and wanted to really get his hands in on this and learn more. He is a fantastic driver. He's come from very beginner. With his first track day, he was going off track at Chuckwalla probably every session. I think when I talked to him about it, I hopped into the car with him, helped him out a little bit there, and then he wanted to take it a step further, build a racing simulator, and learn the car in the sim. And now, last year, he ended up actually winning, or actually, 2 years ago, he ended up actually winning the Spec P71 Championship coming from a beginner. So it just shows the mark of improvement, shows what these cars are capable of, and how you can move on to the next step after a Spec P71 and race whatever you wish to. So yeah, after all of that, here's all of our info here. Let's race. If you guys want to come out, pick up a Crown Victoria, if you guys want to try to find a Crown Victoria somewhere, always happy to help. Have the information on our website on how to find Crown Victorias, as well as just feel free to email me, message me, whatever you'd like. Thank you guys so much. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. Oh, yes?
Actually, this is more of a comment, but I play a video game called Gran Turismo 6, and I have raced on Willow Springs a few times, and it is pretty hard to a corner for there, even if you're in a relatively slow car. So I really admire your driving.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Two questions that came in via text for you.
Okay.
Does someone have a ride and drive program so someone can go out? Or is that
Do we have an arrive and drive program? We don't necessarily at the moment, but what I typically do when people ask that question is I reach out to our drivers and ask if anyone has an open seat that they would like to share for that event. And typically what they do is they'll run two sessions in the day, and then they'll share the car for the last 2 sessions for the other driver. So you're more than welcome to always ask me, always ask one of our drivers, hey, are you willing to share your car as well? And typically what they do is, like, as long as you're willing to share the expenses for the event, they'll let you drive the car. We're pretty open about that, specifically because Crown Victorias, if something happens, it's just like, oh no, it's going to be $100 to repair that. So we don't really mind to share the car.
Any idea what the pool of vehicles out there is? How many ex-police Crown Vics are there?
How many ex-police Crown Vics are there? There are a considerable number of them still. LAPD is getting rid of them all the time. The main source that I usually send people to is a place in Jurupa Valley, TNT Auto Auctions, I believe is the name of it. They usually have tons of Crown Victorias left over stock. And you could usually get them around $3,000. The black and white cars, the Oreos that we call them, are way cheaper than the colored, or just the normal like colored cars. Yes?
Do they stay road legal so you can drive to and from the track, or most people trailer?
Do they stay road legal? Yes. So fun fact, I actually daily drive my Crown Victoria that's sitting out there. I only have a 15-mile commute, so it's not that bad. But yeah, I smogged my car just today, and it passed no flying colors. They stay 100% California legal, no issues whatsoever. Yes.
Have you ever raced against, say, Caprice PPVs or any other retired law enforcement vehicles?
Have we raced against any other retired law enforcement vehicles? Yes. So we actually have I didn't really mention it too much this evening because I wanted it to be more about Spec P71, but we do have a second class. It's called Super Interceptor, where you could bring out any kind of retired police car as long as you can show proof and drive it with us. We had a guy that ran a Caprice PPV with us for a long period of time. Those cars are awesome. He put cam in it, sounded amazing, still had the light bar and everything on top of the car, tons of fun. Yes?
Performance-wise, you can tune the tires for pretty much all of them, no matter which option you pick.
So for tires, we have it limited currently, specifically to 260 tread wear and up. But you can run any tire that you find in that range. The reason why we did that is I don't know how well versed you are with the 200 tread wear tire war, but basically because of autocross and because of normal track days, 200 tread wear tires have become insanely expensive. We opted for higher than that because 260 tread wear is specific to what you pick up from the car, like at an auction. The Goodyear Eagle RSA that comes on it is 260 tread wear, but the tires that we recommend are going to be the Nitto NT55Rs, which are 320 tread wear, which they handle really, really well. They'll last you a full season. Yes?
How easy is it to modify a Camaraderie, and is it like cost effective? Is it easy to find parts to do it yourself?
How easy is it to modify a Crown Victoria? It's super easy. Since it's a Ford, the parts are everywhere. It's basically like working on an oversized Miata. One of my favorite lines that I said for a few different magazines is it's literally a 4,000-pound Miata. So you could find parts everywhere. It's very easy to modify. There's tons of manuals, tons of people on YouTube that have done basically everything you possibly could do to the car. And we also have the resource available of the guy that develops all the parts for these cars. Reach out to him and be like, hey, do you know how to do this? And he'll be able to put you in contact with someone that does know how to do that specific thing. Yes?
As far as the rules and stuff, I saw that you still had your rotation in your car, and it seemed like a couple people had bull bars and stuff on.
Yep.
Is that prohibited in the rules to take those off for weight reduction?
It's not prohibited, and it's actually encouraged to keep them on, though, just because we like the idea of going out there with something that looks like a full-on cop car, just because it's fun. It's one of the things that we were all getting a huge kick out of is we put the push bars on the car and realized it was basically like adding a rear sway bar to the car because it just made the car want a pendulum swing so much more over the nose, and it made it help it point the nose a little bit better. But yeah, so I actually kept the partition in there specifically because it's DOM tubing, and if you really wanted to, you could turn that into a full-on roll bar, very, very easily. Yes.
Which series or class did you race at SCCA, and did you ever meet Ben from Gears and Gasoline?
What was the last part of that? I couldn't hear.
Did you ever meet both Bens from Gears and Gasoline? They race a Civic as well as a BMW.
I've never met both Bens from Gears and Gasoline, unfortunately, but in SCCA, when I did race, the classes that I ran were C Prepared and also Classic American Muscle Contemporary.
So when
Yes.
you guys run with speed benches, is it like you get your own run group? Is it wheel-to-wheel racing pretty much? Or is it more time trial?
It's time attack. We don't encourage the wheel-to-wheel stuff. Like, yes, we do, like, for the people that are comfortable with it, we're like, yeah, you could bump draft. Like, when we had Auto Club Speedway, especially going around the oval part of that, we're like, yeah, go ahead. Like, it'll help you with your lap time if you want. But as far as having our own run group at Speed Ventures, that is not something that we've been able to do as of yet. We're trying to get our car count up. It's something that I've worked out with Speed Ventures already. They told me as soon as I get enough cars, which is 15 or above, we'll have our own run group where it's just only Crown Victorias. Yep. Any other questions? Yes.
A comment, Brett. First, thank you very much for the presentation.
Of course.
There's always a value for aspiring race drivers that to drive a vehicle like that and master it closer to 7/10 its potential than to get a supercar and never be able to be used more than 3/10 its potential.
Exactly.
Your ability to increase your driving skills are much better in something than this rather than one that's going to make you look good no matter what.
I agree. 100%. It definitely makes a huge difference being able to drive something as clunky as one of these cars at 10/10 and allows you to go up to the next big thing and be able to drive that next big thing at those 10/10 as well. Yes.
One more thing. Like, is it against the rules to put like really big spoilers or like aero kits on these things?
Yes. As I mentioned in the rule book, we have a note that says if you don't find it in the rules, you can't do it, and we've made it so that you can't put any aero on the car. The only aero that you could have is a push bar, and that's not very aerodynamic at all. We checked that in CFD. It's not good. Sadly, no. Yeah. Ironically, though, we have had someone press their trunk button, like a passenger press it while driving, because in the police interceptors, they have that. So, like, even if you're driving, you can still open it. Passenger didn't realize that. They're like, "What's that button?" Opened it, and then the trunk went flapping on the track. It was not good. Yeah. Active. What's that? You're not allowed to do Marauder spoilers. So, like I said, everything is very, so much that you can't do, specifically so it's all driver. Any other questions?
So you couldn't relocate your partition horizontally on the rear deck.
We'd have some problems with that. That's a safety concern at that point. All right. Thank you.
Thank you for a great presentation.
Of course, thank
and
you.
I think if you go outside, you can probably get a walk around on the car. The museum's still open. I think they may still be the Lions Club serving hot dogs. And all the team from Temple City, let's get a group shot over here by the IndyCar, which will be featured next month when we're talking with Firestone and Honda here. So
Nice.
we got a lot of great events, and here again, we encourage students. Everyone's welcome at our events here, and mingle and network here. So enjoy. Thank you for coming.
Yeah. Thank you. All right.